What's up, you guys? This is Caleb Sean. I'm back again, and I want to share with you guys today my approach to arranging, song arranging. I think there's some really great power in arranging and some great things that you can find and come to discover when you're exploring sounds and just harmony and melodic patterns. And so I want to share with you guys some of my concepts surrounding that. So when it comes to learning arrangements, the first and most important thing is you need to know the original song first. If you're gonna try to arrange something, you need to know how the original went, because it will start to go left real quick and people will start taking songs other places and not knowing what the original melody is, and then you're completely lost from there, right? So you wanna remember the goal is to keep things congregational to some degree. Now obviously there's different realms of arranging, and there's different spaces that you're gonna be doing it in. So, depending on how much freedom you have in the situation and whether it's more original stuff or whatever the case may be, you can do a lot more exploring. But again, for the sake of this example, I want to just start with the song Sea of Victory by Elevation. And so, again, you got to know the melody, right? So let's just start with this verse, right? Chord changes are pretty simple. 6, 4, 1. That's it, right? Melody. Very easy melody. I forget the lyrics right now, but the battle may be, the weapon may be formed, but it won't prosper. Every war he wages, he will win. That may not be the right words, but I kind of vaguely remember some of those lyrics, right? Basic, but know that melody, know those changes, right? Because you can't deviate from it if you don't know it, right? So the first thing I think about is, I think about the melody. I think about like some kind of intro. Usually I want to create some kind of intro, and it can be extravagant if there's like a special event that we're doing. Maybe it's like a church anniversary of some sort, right? Or maybe it's just like it's just some kind of special event. Then you may want to have a more like boom intro, right? Essentially I try to come up with something that's clear, that sets up the singers to come in and whoever's going to be leading to set up that verse, right? So we're in B flat, right? So the thing I think about first is I think about lines. I think harmony and I think lines. So I try to find some kind of line that can either go around the chord changes of the original, or that will take me somewhere that again, that sets up the singer. So if I go with the original chord changes, right, in the beginning, the verse changes, right? If I want to keep those going, right? So even as I'm moving, I'm just kind of already hearing stuff like, so I can go with just a basic, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Simple thing. I switched it to. There's another one, whatever melody that you're hearing, you can find a phrase that just completes itself, right? Or if you want to change the chord changes, you can, right? Right, you just want something that's clear. If you're gonna go the more extravagant route, again, like if this is gonna be something where you're doing a big intro for some major event, right? Then you wanna, again, lines is gonna be big. Big chords, sustaining, and lines, lines with some hits, not all over the place, but so here's an example of something you might do. Let's say this is like a church anniversary and you got your worship leader is gonna introduce it. Such and such church, we're so excited. It's been 10 years, we're here, and we're so grateful that God has allowed us to be able to. So while they're doing all that exhortation, talking, encouraging, you got this is your moment, right? So, you wanna come up with some kind of line. So here's an example of something, that I might do. So 1, 2, you got your intro. You know, here's your tracks. You know, intro, 2, 3, right? I see. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah. I'm thinking simultaneously, right? You may take the approach where you just hear the line, right? So. Or just that much, right? So. Right? Simple melody right there. I said simple, maybe a little bit, right? It's not all over the place. It's not like a very challenging melody. So I'm thinking about what can the drummer do? What's the bass player gonna be playing? What are the roots? What soundscapes are we gonna be pulling? We're gonna have some pads here. I'm hearing this. It can start, you know, with just like maybe a pad holding in the beginning, like holding. You got an intro, 2, 3, right? And you can do it twice around. First time we go down to the B flat, next time I'm just changing the harmony. Instead of the same chord, C major, I'm just doing a substitution and putting A minor. Second time around, back to the E flat. Just creates some slight difference, but you can still keep the pattern going. But that slight difference right there just makes it like, oh, they went somewhere else. So first time. Or some and then the weapon may be fun. You can hold you held that there. Right, you got your drum loop playing, whatever that ends up being. But as far as the actual arranging of the chords and the outline, you know, you can have a pattern that you play in the beginning. So like something that makes it distinct. So let's say you're always thinking melodic, always thinking patterns, because when you're arranging, you want to have a space that you can communicate clearly to everybody in the band. So right there, and depending on your instrumentation, right, you know, you got that going there, that's for your keys player, and you might have an aux player that can come in the second time around, like starts with keys, right? Then you got a lead, like a smooth, like a bright kind of lead. Coming right in the second time around. And then, you know, bells. you have a line, there's all different things that the auxiliary player, you gotta be thinking about all these things when you're arranging. But again, you have your foundation for the verse. I'm not going off from the regular changes. I'm just adding a little more color. The original might have been more straight. I'm just adding more color. Right? So there you have that. And then, that's done, right? Then you get to the chorus, right? The regular chord changes is 6, 4, 1, 5, right? I'm gonna see a victory. So you gotta decide what kind of feel do you want for the drum groove. Do you want a bouncy kind of vibe? Do you want like nowadays, we get the trap thing is big. There's just so many different approaches. So you can, you want to be thinking about that. What are you going to communicate to your drummer? Drum and bass. It's everything for that feel. You can be as colorful as you want to be, but if drum and bass are not locked into a pattern, then it's not gonna be the same. It's not gonna translate the same way. So, right here, I can decide I want to do. I'm gonna see ya.